Right everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this video, I wanted to make this quick video, the top 5 ways of putting small game in your freezer without a firearm. Obviously I'm in the UK and we're not like the States. We don't have your firearms laws. We have to have shotgun licenses, firearms licenses, and then we also, especially with firearms, we have to have the land, the signed up land to go with that. It's getting harder and harder to get. So if you're like the average working man who wants to put a bit of extra game on the table, and especially in these times with cost of food, cost of living crisis, you know, I really think we could do with supplementing our weekly shopping bill with some free food from the land. So here's my top 5 methods of doing it. So starting off at number 1, I think the good old lurcher. If you're allowed to keep a dog where you live, I would honestly, for a pot filling animal, I would say a lurcher is going to do you well. Obviously we've got to a point where there are more and more restrictions coming in. Look at Scotland, what happened last year. They've completely banned lurcher work, and to me that's really not got anything to do with cruelty. For me it's a case of trying to stop the everyday man from going out and feeding himself. You know, but in England and Wales we're still allowed to hunt rabbits and rats with a lurcher, so you know, we've still got the means to feed ourselves. Again, getting back to that same little law of stopping the working man from feeding himself, they've or not law or restrictions. In England now, they've restricted us, so if you're caught on a piece of land that you've not got permission of, even if you're walking your dog, they can do you on being equipped to poach. You know, your dog being your poaching equipment and anything else you've got on you. But if you got permission or you want to risk it, one of these fellas will certainly keep the pot filled. You know, I know my own dog puts plenty of rabbits in the bag for me day and night, and that's the beauty of a lurcher. You know, you can take them out during the day with the ferrets, which is obviously going to be my second method, and or you can take them out at night with a lamp and they'll fill the pot for you. There's a reason why lurchers have always been so popular, especially with the travellers, with the Romany gypsies and whatnot. You know, they always kept a lurcher in the old days with them, simply for the fact that they would keep that stew pot filled. And you know, back in the day we had some crazy laws. If you were employed as a farm labourer or a tenant farmer and they found out you kept one of these, you'd have to have a toe from each foot removed. That's how, you know, serious it was taken. But, you know, if you recently watched a video, I can't remember the YouTube channel now, so apologies, but they had a video out about, you know, the miners up north, you know, when they lost their jobs and stuff, these guys kept them fed. And, you know, that's the thing, for the working man, the lurcher, you know, as a bread and butter means of putting rabbits and small game on the table, they were brilliant. So yeah, if you're able to keep one, get one, because they'll fill the freezer for you. Now, number 2, and the lurcher still comes into this one, so, but if I can find one in the hutch, these things, ferrets. So I think if you're serious about putting rabbits in the bag, get yourself one of these. These are brilliant, great little creatures. If you don't know much about ferrets, you're going to hear some horrible stories. You know, they're biters and, you know, they're horrible animals. But handled correctly, brought up correctly, they're really wonderful little animals to keep. As you can see, very friendly. They just need plenty of handling. You know, the bad reputation stems back from the days, I think, where, you know, these guys were more widely kept, especially during and after the war. Rabbits weren't rationed, and lots of country households kept these little guys to supplement their meat. Rabbits weren't rationed, and but these guys used to be very poorly kept. kept in hutches too small and dark and fed a terrible diet of slops, which is bread and milk, which really is the most awful thing you could feed your ferrets. You know, they're lactose intolerant. They don't eat any wheat or grain or anything. They're very similar to cats. They're 100% carnivores. So yeah, these guys really are they really are good little animals, but the only thing you should be feeding them is meat or a high quality ferret food, which is now very expensive. But these guys will catch you plenty of rabbits, and they're very, very low maintenance animals to keep. All they need is fresh food, fresh water, and a nice, clean, dry environment. If I pan the camera around, see the hutch. I've got a big 6 foot hutch, double tier, 6 foot by 2 foot. And yeah, you know, nice, dry, clean bed, fresh food, fresh water. And they'll eat a lot of what you catch, you know. They'll eat squirrels, they'll eat crows, pigeons. You know, anything you chuck into them, these little guys will eat. But as you can see, a well-handled ferret is, you know, going to be what you want. Handle them well and they won't bite you. But yeah, they're a brilliant little way of going out and catching rabbits. If you look back through my channel, there's loads and loads of ferreting videos. You couple that with a lurcher, because obviously if you've got a good lurcher and they got a good nose on them, they'll mark and they'll tell you which warrens rabbits are down, and save you a lot of time netting up. And yeah, coupled together, that'll put game in the bag for you. So yeah, and like I say, they're a very low maintenance animal to keep. They don't need much. You don't have to do much with them. You know, I'll put this guy back in his hutch. And you know, they do have quite a good lifespan on them. I've got a couple of hobs in the hutch there that are around the 10-year-old mark. And you know, if they're born in the summer, by the winter time you can have them out rabbiting. And you think, you know, for what they cost, which, you know, to buy, which is generally £5–10, you know, pennies really, excuse me. The amount of years work you get out of them and the amount of food they put on the table is just crazy, you know. So yeah, that's another good method to get them. Again, ferreting is quite an easy way. You know, all you need is a few nets, and either long nets or purse nets, a dog. You don't have to have the dog, they save time, and the ferrets themselves, you know, and you can go out and you can catch yourself a good amount of rabbits if you're lucky enough to have rabbits in your area. I know a lot of people have struggled with them. Right, method number 3. Traps. And if I just ask you to mind out, Bryn, thank you. So these are both fen traps. You've got the smaller Mark IV and you've got the bigger Mark VI. So the Mark IV is more for like rats and squirrels. I generally use these for squirrels. Squirrel's not a popular meat in the UK. It should be. It is good meat. They're very tasty and they're a pest. So the more you kill and eat, the better off we are, you know, saving our red squirrels and native songbirds and whatnot. But yeah, the beauty of these is these traps are pretty bomb-proof. You know, you're never going to break that. You could probably pick these up £4 or £5 each. You know, get yourself half a dozen to a dozen each. You know, you'll be putting squirrels and whatnot in the bag for years to come. All you need to do, these do need to be set in either a natural or artificial tunnel. I've got a squirrel trapping video if you go back and take a look. I'll show you how to do that. And put a bit of bait, peanut butter on the trap, inside the tunnel. Catch squirrels all day long with this. And as I said, put small game in the freezer. If you wanted to catch some rabbits, you can get the bigger Mark VI. Now these you set inside, just inside the mouth of the warren, and then you'll cover this with sifted soil. And you don't have to bait them for rabbits. This works on the rabbits are going to run out, stand on the plate, and that'll catch big and small rabbits. The beauty of these is once they're set inside the warren, no one's going to see them, you know. So if you're doing a bit of over the fence stuff, nobody's going to see that once they're set. And again, if you get, you know, 20, 30 of these, or 10, whatever you can afford, you know, you're going to be able to regularly put rabbits in the bag with no problem. The good thing about traps is that they work without you. Once they're set, all you've got to do is go back and check them every day and reset them, empty them, reset them, you know, there you go, easy peasy. But yeah, once you learn how to use these are a reliable way of putting small game in the freezer, you know, again with no firearm. They're going to last you a lifetime. You're not going to break them. You're definitely not going to break them. So yeah, next method I would use is going back old school. This is a very old method. People have been using these, well, primitive, you know, snaring. So these are rabbit snares, and they've got the teeler and the peg already attached. If you didn't want to buy them like this, you could just buy the brass snares cheap enough, and you could make the teeler out of a hazel stick and obviously peg how you would a ferret and purse net. You know, there is a little bit of an art to snaring, but once you've learned how to do it, you know, it's easy enough. And again, it's a great way, not only rabbits, but you can snare squirrels. You can set pole snares up for them, lean a pole up against a tree, bait that pole with peanut butter or put a peanut feeder at the top. Get the squirrels used to running up and down that pole. After a couple of weeks, run some snares on the pole. Yeah, easy peasy, you'll catch squirrels easy. You can also catch pheasants with these as well. You can catch hares, obviously rabbits. These are rabbit snares, but you can catch hares with them. You just got to get your height of your snare right when you set them. Obviously, if you want to catch a pheasant, you'll set them slightly higher than you would for a rabbit. But yeah, if you're not confident with setting them on runs, or you don't really, or you're still learning, an easier way is to just bin the peg off and the teeler, have the brass loop with a bit of twine on it, a bit of baler twine or whatnot, and set them as fence snares where the rabbits come through the stock fencing. You're about to knock my camera over, mate, so bugger off. Yeah, easy enough, and again, they work without you. The only problem I find with snaring is you will end up having a few rabbits pinched by foxes and badgers. You know, when they get in this, a lot of the time it doesn't kill the rabbits. And once the rabbits are caught in this, they squeal, brings the foxes in. So if you are doing snaring, make sure you get up nice and early in the morning, try and beat the foxes till you kill. There's nothing worse than finding just a head in these. But yeah, snaring and traps, they're low maintenance. You don't have to do anything apart from learn how to set them correctly and humanely, and go back and check them. And again, they're a great way, an old method. So next method, and I like to try and make things as versatile as I can. So obviously we've said about the ferrets and the dog, they go hand in hand. So something that if you've already got the ferrets, you're probably going to have knocking around the place is going to be a long net. Now this is a 50-yard quick set. Quick set is, for most of you watching will know, but anyone new, is it's the net already in the baskets, already attached to the poles. You put that round yourself, put the first pole out, stick that in the ground, walk backwards, the net feeds out of the basket. So it's pretty simple. So you'd already have that if you are using long nets instead of purse nets. You would already have that. And a method that I like to use a lot, and if you go back and you'll see the videos on it, is long netting at night. And this is a real reliable, easy method of putting rabbits in a bag. So you want a good windy night, same as you would sort of lamping conditions if you were going out with a dog. A little bit of field craft needed, because you need to know your ground, you need to know where the rabbits are going to, where they're going to be out feeding. You know, you want the wind in your face, you don't want it blowing towards the rabbits out in the field, otherwise they'll smell and hear you. But it's as simple as going out, if that's the hedge where the rabbits are, warrens are, and the fields out here where they're feeding, it's as simple as sneaking in, setting that net between the hedge and where they're feeding, and then all you've got to do is walk round and walk the rabbits back towards the net. It's as simple as that. And really, you can get quite, if there's a lot of rabbits on the ground, you can get a lot of rabbits in a night. I think on my first video we got 22. and that was easy enough. We were only there an hour. You don't have to have a quick set. If you wanted to, you could use a traditional net. A traditional net is obviously, it hasn't got the poles or the basket. You have to use hazel poles. For a beginner though, I wouldn't really recommend a traditional net. They can be tricky to set. You know, you've got to run the net out, then go back, put the poles in, end pins and everything. You know, it really, you want a couple of people if you're doing traditional netting to be efficient. Whereas these quick sets are so easy. It's called a quick set for a reason. You know, it's long netting for dummies, basically. Anyone can do it. So yeah, that's a great method. But yeah, I find all these methods are real easy. Once you know what you're doing, they're really easy ways of putting small game into the freezer. And you know, if you don't have permission anywhere and you wanted to do a little bit of sneaky over the fence work, these are all great ways to do that, because you know, long netting at night, who's going to see you? You don't need a light to do it. You can do it in total darkness. Snaring, again, you can snare, nobody will see them. The fen traps in tunnels or in a rabbit warren, nobody will see it. Obviously, don't go out lamping on ground you haven't got permission on. It's a stupid way. I've never understood why people poach that way. You're shining a bloody great big fucking lamp around a field, somebody's going to see you. But anyway, by the way, for anyone watching, I'm not condoning poaching. I don't do it. I've got permission. If that's what you want to do. You know, this is the working man feeding himself. So, but yeah, I think all these methods are pretty easy and pretty good once you know what you're doing, because, you know, you're not walking around with a air rifle or a shotgun or whatever. And if you can't get them, then these are just some of the older methods of putting game in the bag that they used to use years and years ago. And they're still relevant today, and I think even more so now. You know, we seem to be going back on ourselves now. You know, history repeats itself. We're getting to the time where it's a real rich and poor divide. Keep the people hungry, you know, easier to control. But not only that, it's just the cost of things. You know, I know everyone's being hit by the cost of living crisis, you know, with bills and everything going up, rent going up, and so many people using food banks, you know, in this country. Is sad to see. And I think, you know, if we can supplement that with some free food, I think that's even better. And, you know, if you can grow your own vegetables as well, if you have a garden, you know, you can bucket garden even. You don't need a big garden, you know, you can grow potatoes in bloody big gorilla buckets and stuff like that. It's if you can do that and go out and catch some rabbits and squirrels and, you know, supplement your own shopping bills. Stop trying to knock my camera over. The lurcher's been a bit of a nightmare. I take it back, don't get one. But yeah, so another method that I haven't said, and I will add on, because I know a lot of people do it, is use a catapult. You know, they're easy to stick in your pocket. It's nothing to carry around a handful of ball bearings, and you know, you can put more of a variety of game in the bag with that, from pigeons, squirrels, rabbits, hares, ducks, pheasants, partridges. You know, it's all capable of taking that, as long as you're capable. You know, you've got to put the practice in. Yeah, these are just a few methods I thought I'd show you, and I've got videos on most of them, so I'll link all the videos in the description anyway, so you can go back and watch them. But yeah, these are just ways I find are good. And, you know, sometimes, as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These old methods, they were used by the old boys years ago for a reason, because it worked and it put food on the table. And as I said before, these days I think there's more of a need to go back to that way than ever, you know, and while we still can. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're new, hit subscribe. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. That helps bolster it and bump it up a bit. And I'll be seeing you soon for some more videos. Like I said before, just because ferreting isn't on at the minute, you know, that's a seasonal thing. I didn't want the channel to go quiet. I'll, you know, be doing a few other discussions and stuff. And if you enjoy the camping video, I'll bring you more of them. So yeah, cheers for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.